Hey, happy holidays, everybody! Jeffrey Michael here, and welcome to a special super-powered edition of Jeffrey Michael's Movie Reviews Extravaganza. In this video, I will cover the movies that were released on the first weekend of the holiday movie season, November 3rd, 2017. Okay, let's start with our first review, which is of the Marvel superhero film Thor Ragnarok, rated PG-13. It stars Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Cate Blanchett, Tessa Thompson, Mark Ruffalo, and Jeff Goldblum. It is directed by New Zealand director Taika Waititi, I hope I pronounced that right, who brought you the vampire film What We Do in the Shadows. Okay, so Thor Ragnarok is the third film in the Thor trilogy after Thor and Thor the Dark World. And for all you Marvel fans, it is the 17th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, franchise. And also, it is the 5th film of Phase 3 for all you hardcore Marvel fans. Okay, so Thor Ragnarok starts off our superhero thunder god, Thor, finds himself imprisoned by the fire demon Surtur. He tells him with fiendish glee that Ragnarok is coming to Asgard, his homeworld. Now, for all of you who don't know what that is, Ragnarok, in Norse mythology, it's like the equivalent to Armageddon. It's the end of everything, complete destruction of Asgard. And fearing for their safety, Thor manages to escape, and he gets back to warn his father, Odin, of the inevitable destruction of Asgard. But when he gets there, he finds that Odin has been banished by his brother Loki, who, disguised as Odin, has taken over rule of Asgard. Enraged at what he's done, he forces Loki to take him to where he sent father off to. Only when they do find Odin, he tells them that, unfortunately, he is dying. Oh. And he has a confession to make before he dies. They actually have a firstborn daughter, a sister, that he never told them about. He had a daughter named Hela, played by Cate Blanchett. But she was so full of dark power and ambition that he sealed her away in an underworld, but with his powers. But when he dies, his powers will cease, and she will be released from this underworld. And so, of course, not long after, he dies, and they barely have any time to grieve before Hela makes her appearance. And, her first evil deed is to take Thor's indestructible hammer, Mjolnir, and destroy it. Ooh, shit just got real moment there. And her second evil deed is to send Thor and Loki clear across space and time to the planet Sakaar, a trash-ridden planet ruled by Grand Master, played by Jeff Goldblum, in his most Jeff Goldblum role. Ladies know Jeff Goldblum talks like this a lot, And while Thor is there, he encounters a fellow Asgardian, a Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson, and also one of his fellow superhero friends, the Incredible Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo. And Grand Master forces him and the Hulk to duel against each other as gladiators in an arena for their own pleasure. And it's up to Thor, Loki, Valkyrie, and the Incredible Hulk all to band together to get away off of the planet and get back to Asgard in order to stop Hela and her fiendish reign and prevent Ragnarok from happening. Whew, that's a mouth. And so let me start by saying that I am a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, everyone. I mean, they follows through, because every film follows through on the one golden rule that every good film should have. It is bloody entertaining. I mean, that's exactly what a film should be, right? And the acting is just great. I mean, Cate Blanchett, she is exquisite and so threatening as the evil villain. And Jeff Goldblum, he does his best job being Jeff Goldblum. And even Chris Hemsworth does a great job of showing his comedy bits that, who knew he even had that? Now, there are some people out there who think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is kind of overrated. They say it's, too lighthearted, too, much comedy. But I disagree, actually, because, would you rather watch a dark, brooding, boring film with hardly any comedy? Or something that entertains you, from start to finish? That's what you're always guaranteed with these Marvel films. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all, because, humor is a part of life. We use humor to help us get through the dark times and the good, so I don't see anything wrong with that. And I sure had a good time watching this one. In fact, I'm such a fan of these films, I go every time there's a new one to the Thursday night showing, IMAX. It's always a blast to see those special effects pop off the screen. And as you probably might guess, this is actually one of my favorite, Marvel films to date, Thor Ragnarok. And as a result, I think my grade for it, I would give it a nice A-. Yes, I had a great time watching this, and I know for a fact I think you all would too. So everyone should go see this one this holiday season. Go see it. Okay, let's move on to our next review, which is of the comedy A Bad Mom's Christmas, rated R. It stars Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, Katherine Hahn, Christine Baranski, Cheryl Hines, Susan Sarandon, and was directed by John Lucas and Scott Moore, who brought you the films 21 and Over and Bad Moms. Now, A Bad Mom's Christmas is the sequel to last year's Bad Moms. Now, that film was a comedy about three hardworking moms named Amy, Kiki, and Carla, played by Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Katherine Hahn, respectively. And all the turmoil and the troubles they got, they all try to be the perfect mom, and they all fail horribly. It gets to the point where it's like, F this. We're done trying to be the perfect mothers. We're going to try just do the best we can and have a little fun for ourselves. Be bad every once in a while. Bad moms. And that film wasn't all that great, but it had some nice comedy moments. And it was also a good, commentary on, how society puts all these pressures on motherhood. You have to be the perfect moms to everyone all the time. But the movie showed that it's okay to fail every once in a while, even though you're overworked and underappreciated. That you don't have to be perfect, just be the best you can. Unfortunately, I wish this sequel were as good, but more on that in a minute. First, the plot, if there is one. I mean, basically, the moms of the three moms come home for the holidays. So basically, the plot boils down to Grandma comes home for Christmas times three. I mean, that really is it. But it does help, though, that the three grandmas are wonderfully cast. I mean, there's Amy's pushy control freak of a mother, Ruth, played wonderfully by Christine Baranski. There's Kiki's needy, very needy mother, Sandy, played also great by Cheryl Hines. And lastly, there's Carla's gambling, pot-smoking mother named Isis, named after the terrorist organization. Yes, that's an actual line in the film, played by Susan Sarandon. And basically, the movie, it's about there's turmoil and trouble against the daughters and the mothers, and there's a lot of headbutting and a lot of you don't come into my house and tell me what we're gonna do, and kind of like that. And comedy ensues, and lessons are learned, and it wasn't. There's some nice comedy bits though. I mean, there's especially a great moment in the film where Carla's character, she professionally whacks a Santa stripper played by Justin Hartley from This Is Us, and she waxes his while they're having an intimate moment, and that's a pretty funny moment. But yeah, it's not all that great. I mean, it's kind of the kind of movie you would go to and turn your brain off and just laugh at the stupidity. Really, it's not going to change your life. But if you're looking for a comedy where you can sit back and just be pleasantly amused for 90 minutes, I mean, comedy is subjective. I didn't think it was that great, but some of you might think it's the funniest movie of the year. So I would give it a C plus. I would go lower, but all six women did such a great job in their roles that it actually elevated my grade. So if you want to see this comedy, I won't stop you, but I don't know if I'd recommend it. But if you do, go ahead. So the last movie that I saw from November the 3rd was LBJ, rated R. It stars Woody Harrelson, Richard Jenkins, and Jennifer Jason Leigh, and was directed by the great Rob Reiner, who brought you such classics as Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, Misery, A Few Good Men, and The American President. Now, LBJ covers the life of Lyndon Johnson in the 60s, starting off with 1960 when he was the Democratic nominee as Democratic nominee for presidency, losing to John F. Kennedy, of course. John F. Kennedy making him his running mate, and his tenure as vice president, to the assassination of John F. Kennedy, which starts off the movie, to his newfound tenure as president, where he tries really hard to pass the late Kennedy's Civil Rights Act. Now, overall, I thought this movie was okay. I mean, it wasn't all that wonderful. I mean, the cast is just fine. I mean, Woody Harrelson, in particular, as the title Lyndon B. Johnson, he has this knack for really bringing out the charm in any character, good or bad, and it really shows off in this movie. But overall, I thought the movie was too surface skimming, meaning it didn't really delve deep into, his character or any of the other historical figures around him. And also, my mom and I both agree, we both saw this one, that the portrayal of Robert F. Kennedy was kind of like an asshole to LBJ all the time, and that didn't sit well with us. I mean, it's immaculately done. I mean, the costumes and the sets, I mean, it feels like the 60s. But I don't know. I think a movie made about LBJ was the 2016 HBO film All the Way, starring Bryan Cranston as LBJ. I think that was a better movie about him. Overall, I would give this movie a C. I mean, it was average. I mean, not much else. If you want to see it, you can go ahead, but I can't recommend it because it wasn't all that great. Here we go again with the recap. Thor Ragnarok, A minus. The best of the three Thor movies, and probably one of the best Marvel movies, period. Everyone needs to see this one, definitely. Please, I beg you, see it. A Bad Mom's Christmas, C+. Somewhat funny comedy sequel to Bad Moms, starring six incredible actresses. Unless you're looking for a good turn your brain off comedy, I don't know if I recommend this one. And finally, LBJ, C. An average biopic about LBJ directed by Rob Reiner. I know, Rob Reiner seems to have lost his magic over the years, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, all his classics are behind him, and he just makes these average films now. Sad. I wouldn't recommend this one either. And that'll do it for another super-powered edition of Jeffrey Michael's Movie Reviews Extravaganza. Until next time, happy movie watching, and happy holidays, everybody!